Right, peeps, I'm back, and there's going to be no rants in this one. No rants. Well, no planned ones anyway. No rants, no wild animal attacks, and now no going on about the Content Creator Awards, except to say if you are voting in the Content Creator Awards, I recommend you vote for Andrew, FPL Nightmare, because he's put out absolutely fantastic, real innovative content this year, hasn't he? You know, he really has. And so if you're going to vote for anybody, vote for him. I didn't actually realise you're supposed to nominate yourself, which is probably why I wasn't in them. It seems a bit of a strange concept to me to have to nominate yourself. But vote for him anyway. I actually voted for him and FPL Team because I use FPL Team a lot, as you can see here on the screen. And today we're going to talk about the moves for this week, the timing of them, what people have been doing and all that sort of thing. So here we go. So this is my team as we stand. I haven't made a single transfer this week. A lot of people have gone early, you know, including a lot of content creators. A lot of content creators that are constantly telling you to be patient and that information is more important than money. They've all gone early. They all made the Haaland move on the Sunday night. You know, I'm not saying it's wrong. I very nearly did it myself because it's kind of makes a bit of sense this week, I guess. I mean, it's the sort of thing I do. You know, I don't preach patience, and I don't tell you that points are more important than money. You know, I often make an early transfer. But, you know, they all made their early transfers, basically. So, just putting it out there. So, my plans initially, if I had gone on the Sunday night, I would have gone Salah to Semenyo and Mateta to Haaland. And I'm quite pleased I didn't, because I've been thinking about it a bit since. And we have the news that Madueke is out for 2 months now. So if I had made these moves, if I'd made them, I would be in this situation now. And I was also going to take a hit for Wirtz. That was the other thing. I was going to take a -4 and get in dying and kind of erase them all from my memory. But like I said, I've had a bit of a rethink. You know, the wait has actually done me good. So this is what would have happened. And then say next week, if I wanted to go for Saka, now that Madueke's out, is an option. He looked pretty good against Man City when he came on. If he does well against Newcastle, he's going to be a big option in game week 7. And I wouldn't be able to afford him. You see that? If I'd gone with my original Sunday night moves. So I've had a bit of a kind of rethink. And now my moves are going to be, and all I've missed out on really is 0.1 rise in Haaland, which I will get back, of course, when I sell him. So this is now my current thoughts. Haaland in for Mateta and Salah out for Ndiaye, who's on penalties, home to West Ham. West Ham have been given 2 matches. Potter's been given 2 matches to get his act together, else he's gone. So how are you going to react? You know, do they want him gone? If they want him gone, then they're not going to put in much effort, are they? But I'm bringing him in anyway, home to West Ham, which I think is a very good move. Most people on wildcard or free hit are bringing him in this week. Of course, it means I don't have Semenyo, but as Praz said in a comment to me just now, you can't have everybody. Do you know what I mean? I am concerned about not having Semenyo this week. Very high ownership, which is why I was considering taking a -4 and taking out Wirtz for Semenyo. Which, to be honest, I don't think is a bad move. I don't think it's a bad move. However, I'm not going to do that, I think, now. I've decided I'm not going to do it. I'm actually going to keep Wirtz. And I fully expected Wirtz's price to have fallen a couple of days ago. and by now to be well on the way to a second price drop, which would have made it pretty untenable keeping him. But so far this week, he hasn't even fallen in price yet. And all the wild cards are really slowing up the price changes. You see these 4 players here at the top. They were all supposed to rise last night. I think Senesi was on over 120% last night and he didn't drop. So all these players were meant to drop last night. They didn't because of wild cards. And even Wirtz, who was over 100% last night but didn't drop, is now only on minus 96%, expected to be on minus 99%. So he could fall tonight, but he might not. But either way, he's not falling very rapidly. So once he does fall, he's not going to fall again this game week. That's certain. So it could be well late into next week. And today we had the teams for the Carabao Cup games. And Wirtz, along with Gakpo and a few others, aren't even on the bench. They're not playing at all. So I think that's good news for Wirtz. You know, they're playing a tired Crystal Palace team who've got Europe tomorrow. And why not play him? You know, it's like a fresh start for Wirtz. He's had a nice week off now. He was obviously considered a great option at the start of the season. I'll give him another week. It's not so much that I expect him to do well. It's that it avoids me making a -4. And then as soon as you get to game week 7, I've got the option, should Saka look really good, of just going Wirtz to Saka, which is quite appealing because he's going to be very lowly owned. Very lowly owned. And it's an alternative to Semenyo. I mean, Semenyo's gone up in price so much now, but I no longer think he's value anyway. You know, obviously I'd like him, but I don't think the fixtures for Bournemouth are that fantastic anyway, to be honest. Okay, they've got this Leeds game. Fulham are good at defending. Away at Palace. Then they got Forest, which might not be too bad, but then they're away to City, away to Villa. It's only really game week 12 they've got a really nice run. And by then I might have him anyway. So whereas Saka, I can get him for West Ham, Fulham, Palace at home, Burnley and Sunderland. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? I mean, there's always a chance you get rotated or whatever, but without Madueke there, the chance is much diminished. And he's probably fully over his injury by now. You know, he's had a lot of time off. He never was really a injury-prone player. You know, it's just that injury last season. He doesn't have a real history of injuries. So who would you bench here, peeps? Who would you bench here? Anderson, I guess. So, yeah. This is my plans for this week. Senesi for Lacroix. And I think that's pretty good. No hits taken. Still haven't taken a hit all season. Reasonable side for this week. And I don't have to rush because, as we've seen, I don't think Haaland's rising in price for a few days. He's only on 30%, so it's going to be another 3 or 4 days before he rises in price. Even Haaland's only gone up once this week. So by forfeiting at 0.1 on Sunday night, I've given myself an awful lot of extra time to both think about what I'm doing and take advantage of any information. Because I often do make an early transfer, but I feel like this game week 6 is absolutely pivotal to the entire season, isn't it? I mean, it's a huge week. I mean, if we did get news Haaland was injured and you just made the double switch, I mean, it would be extremely annoying, wouldn't it? It would be quite harmful to your prospects. In my case, it would mean I'd have to play the free hit chip this week. And really, I think my team currently can do just as well as free hit teams. And it's only really Gyökeres and Sanchez that you'd say, and maybe Wirtz, but you never know with Wirtz. You never know. You never know, peeps. Even with Gyökeres, he could score a goal. Sanchez might actually play and keep a clean sheet. You just don't know. You just don't know. So, who would I vice captain here, just in case Haaland doesn't start? Who would I vice captain? João Pedro? Nope. Reinders, I guess. I don't like captain and vice captain on two players from the same team, because if something happens and there's an unexpected postponement, then you're stuffed. Who shall I put it on? Fernandes. Pretty sure he always turns up. So that's about it. That's about it for this week. So thanks anyway, peeps, for all the good responses from yesterday's video. It's been a great discussion about the awards and all of that sort of thing, and review and Solio and all that type of stuff. So it's all very interesting. And we'll see going forward, what happens. But I see a lot of people now are bringing in stack. So I've done well getting stack. Whole load of people playing their wild cards this week. I think Raptor moved, and then Harry moved as well. He's getting criticised because he made a couple of transfers first that people thought was trying to throw everybody off the scent. And then he pressed the wild card button after the players' prices had already risen. But that's a good thing to do, because it stops people copying him. If you're going to copy him, you can't then complain because he does something to stop you copying him. You know what I mean? I don't know if that was his intention or not. But, he's just doing what's best for his team. He's not doing what's best for your team, so you can't expect him to. You know what I mean? But a lot of them are wildcarding this week. And I'd say a lot of them are bringing in pretty much these players that I've already got. Same forward line. Ndai, Reinders, Fernandes, all in there. Only one I'm missing is Semenyo, really, and they're getting stack as well. So pretty much the same midfield as the wildcarders, except Semenyo versus Wirtz. But next week I'll be going to Saka. And I'm thinking if Saka does well, they're all going to be scrambling to get Saka as well. So then, then even another blank from Semenyo, and his price will come under pressure, because that's how FPL works, It can change very quickly, very quickly. And if Saka does take off, he really will take off. It'll be a huge bandwagon. As for defence, I mean, a lot of people have got Gabriel instead of Virgil. But I don't think you can categorically say that Gabriel's a better pick than Virgil. Everyone's got Senesi. Lacroix's decent. A lot of people are going Richards instead. Rodon's decent, and Anderson's decent. My only problem here really is the keeper. If I get a spare week where I've got no transfer, I will probably make a goalkeeper switch. But I don't consider it to be worth doing for a hit by any means, because, I mean, Ray is very popular, but he's like a 6-point player, isn't he? He very rarely gets save points, very rarely gets bonus points, doesn't often have penalties to try and save. So I don't like to spend that amount on a keeper if I can avoid it. You can see why people get him, though. But it's probably not for me. But you never know, I might get him at some stage. I'm quite pleased I didn't, because if I had got him on wildcard, I'd be in a bit of a pickle now, wouldn't I? Because I'd have 500,000 less. And then I wouldn't have had enough money to do this Wirtz to Saka move next week. So every saving you can make tends to have a knock-on effect somewhere else. So basically, you have to kind of plan everything well. And it's easy to say, oh, you should have got Raya because Sanchez got sent off. But like I said, I don't like spending 5.5 million on a keeper. And I didn't know Sanchez was going to get sent off. So, that's just one of the things that happens, isn't it? That's just FPL. Anyway, peeps, I'm off now, off to my chess tournament. First game starts in an hour and 45 minutes. And I'm going to be totally immersed in that for the next 4 days. So I'm probably going to have no time to do anything. It's why I wanted to work out what I was doing before it started. And this Carabao Cup was like the last jigsaw in the puzzle, or the last piece in the puzzle. Especially regarding Wirtz, you know, I'm quite pleased that he's not involved in it whatsoever. And Dye's not playing either. He is on the bench for Everton. Wolves have put out a very strong team. I'm very interested to see how Arias gets on tonight, because I don't know why they haven't been using him, whether his fitness levels weren't up to scratch or whatever. But in game week 1, we thought he was a pretty good option, didn't we? And he's down to 5.2 now. So I can see him at some stage still being fantasy relevant. But he's not really being given the minutes, is he, so far? Anyway, peeps, I'll talk to you all later. And except that we'll go to Reddit and have a look at what's going on there. Right, so Madueke, 2 months out with an injury, knee injury. It's not as bad as they thought. It's not ACL, like somebody was saying on X yesterday. But 2 months, actually 2 months isn't as bad as it sounds, because we've got a big international break coming up. But it's still quite a few matches he's going to miss, and he's probably going to be reintroduced slowly when he does come back. Pep's been talking about Haaland again, demanding week. I think he will be fine for next weekend. So he thinks he's going to be fine, which he probably will be, to be fair. So let's have a look. What have we got here? Palmer, 3 to 6 weeks. Again, with the international break. If it's 3 weeks, it's probably only a couple of matches, isn't it? But, you know, they can't really find out what's wrong with him. That's the problem. It's like, so they can't do surgery on him or anything. So it's just kind of lingering on and just needs lots of rest. So he's pretty much a non-option at this stage, which is pretty good. Because this is another reason for getting Saka in, because he can be like a placeholder for Palmer. And like Saka's good run come to an end just when Palmer's is taken off again. So that's quite useful, I think, to keep a place open for at least one of those two. Second game week running, the most sold player has outscored the most bought player. Most sold Palmer outpointed Ekiteke, and Ekiteke was the most sold, and he outpointed Palmer. Peeps, why have they done it this way round? Why have they done it this way round? Look, most bought Semenyo, most sold Ekiteke. That's it. And Ekiteke outpointed him, and Grealish was the most bought, who was outpointed by Palmer. Finally got it right. I shouldn't have gone to Reddit after all, should I? Shouldn't have gone to Reddit. Anyway, starting lineups, we've got the only one here really is Enzo Fernandez. Oh, and Chalobah is starting as well. So that's a bit of a worry for you guys that have got them. Esteval's not playing. He's going to be playing at the weekend. You can guarantee it. With Palmer out, I think Esteval becomes a very interesting pick. I'm always saying this, aren't I? But I think he does. Honestly think he does. It's only a matter of time. Only matter of time, Pete's, before Esteval lights up the Premier League. Burnley, even Burnley are putting out a reserve team. Who have Brighton got here? Belieber's playing. Oh, they've put out a bit of a stronger team. Everton, Tarkowski's playing. Dibling's come in, but and Dye on the bench. As I said, Wolves put out quite a strong side. Look, they've got Strand Larsen, Arias is playing. Oh, what's his face isn't playing now. You guys that own the defender, Agbadu. Fulham, Anderson's got a rest. And Munoz rested. as well as King is not playing. As for the Liverpool lineup, look at it. Crazy. He's pretty much rested everybody. Pretty much rested everybody. And a lot of them aren't even on the bench. Gakpo's not on the bench. Szoboszlai's not on the bench. Actually, the fact they're not on the bench, there's like 4 of them, isn't there? 4 of them competing for 3 spots. And none of them are playing any part. So I guess it doesn't guarantee that Wirtz does start, does it, at the weekend, really? He could be benched again, couldn't he? But I'm going to keep him anyway, come what may, because I don't really want to spend a -4 in a spot where I might want to get Saka next week, because I think that would just be a bit silly, wouldn't it, really? So I think it's wait on Saka is the key motive here, or motif for my team. Anyway, peeps, I'll talk to you all later. Cheers for now, and remember, Content Awards, vote for FPL Nightmare, because he deserves it. We'd love to win it, probably, and it would be a great news story, wouldn't it, for FPL? Heartwarming story. So I'll talk to you all later, peeps. So cheers for now.